Hi there, Katie here. I am excited to be bringing you a new series, 6 skills to master before you start reading. Let's talk about the first skill. This seems pretty obvious, right? Before your child can start to read, they need to know the names and sounds of all 26 letters. But they don't just need to know the names of the letters. They need to know them consistently. They need to know them in random order, and they need to know them with distractions going on, because reading involves a lot of things and usually takes place, especially in a classroom, with a lot of distractions happening around them. One question I get asked a lot is, when should I start teaching my child their letters, the names, and the sounds? And my answer is simple. It will vary for every child. Usually your kid is going to give you some indication that they're ready to start learning these things. So my girls were totally different. My oldest daughter, she went to preschool, to 3-year-old preschool, knowing all of her letter names and sounds. She was interested in it and she absorbed it very quickly. My younger daughter, on the other hand, wasn't super interested in learning about her letters and names and sounds until she got to 4-year-old preschool, and that's when she really started to absorb that information and be curious about it. It's appropriate to start teaching 3-year-olds the names of capital letters, and by kindergarten, it's ideal that your child recognizes all of their ABCs and they know the most common sound for all of the letters. Now, if your child's in kindergarten and they don't know all their letters or they don't know all their sounds yet, hear me when I say this, that is okay. They'll get it. Just like every kid learns how to talk and walk and ride a bike at a different age, that's the same for reading. They'll get there, they just might not be there yet, and that's okay. Before you start teaching your child the names and sounds of their letters, there's a sequence I want you to keep in mind. First, they're going to learn the order of the alphabet by singing the ABCs. That's just rote memorization. They're going to learn that first. Then you're going to want to introduce uppercase letters, followed by the most common sound that a letter makes, and then lowercase letters last. Usually you're going to learn your lowercase letters in kindergarten, so don't worry about that quite yet. So you're probably wondering, how do I teach my child their letter names and sounds so that they internalize it while still having fun? Get ready, I've got 5 ideas that you can start using right away. Start with songs. Singing the alphabet is a great way to start learning your letter names. Now, just because your child can sing the alphabet doesn't mean that they know what the letters look like or the sounds that they make or even what it is that they're saying, what these words stand for. But what you're doing when you sing the alphabet is you're building prior knowledge, which is really important when you're reading. So then later on, when you start attaching a letter shape and matching it with the letter name, they have some prior knowledge to say, oh, I've heard that before. I've heard A and B and C before. I know it from my song. You can start teaching your child the alphabet by the age 2. Some know it before then. Find a song on YouTube or on another streaming device, download a couple, listen to them in the car, and pretty soon your child will be singing their alphabet. Look around for uppercase letters in real life. So look around your house. You might have monogrammed chairs or towels or art around your house. You might have shirts that have big capital letters on them. Use those to start conversations about letter names. So I went to Indiana University and I often wear shirts like this around the house at night. Well, when my daughter was young and she was starting to become curious about letters, she would crawl up on my lap and say, "Mommy, what's this? What's this? What's this?" So I'm proud to say that her first letters she learned were I-N-D-I-A-N-A, go Hoosiers. And then for Christmas, she got a monogrammed chair with her name on it. She would sit backwards in the chair and she'd point to each letter saying, "Mommy, what's this? What's this? What's this?" So you remember when I said earlier that your child is going to let you know when they're ready to start learning their letters? This is how she was telling us that she wanted to learn the names of her letters. This same idea works for sounds. Once they've mastered their letter names, you can start working on sounds. Say you're out running errands and you see big store names like Target, for example. Hey, look, there's Target. Target starts with T. T says T. Have your child repeat, T says T. And you can repeat that sentence for almost anything out there. Use all of those alphabet toys and alphabet books that you have at your house. I am sure that you have books or puzzles or blocks or even toys that make sound that have the ABCs all over them. These are great learning toys and they make it fun because, well, they're toys. So think about wooden blocks, for example. This works for all the toys, but wooden blocks. You can stack them, and as you're stacking, have your child say the letter that you're putting up on top. If you've mastered the letters, stack those same blocks, only say the sound that they're making. Remember, you say it, then your child repeats it. That's how they're internalizing it. You know those bath foam letters? I love those. They are great for so many things, but my favorite game to play with them is just a simple fishing game. You can give your child a big scoop or a net or something like that and have them fish for their name or a letter that you call out. Remember when I told you back at the beginning that they need to know them in random order? Well, letters scattered all over the bathtub, that is random order. So they'll have to search and find the shape that looks like the letter you're calling out. You can also do this for sounds. After they've mastered those letter names, you can go back and say, can you find the letter that says A? Or can you find the letter that says F? And they'll look for it in the bathtub. Scoop it up, stick it on the wall, and do it again. Alphabet books are another great tool that you can use that you already have at your house. The great thing about alphabet books is that they have big letters on every page, and often they have multiple letters. So here on the A page, we've got A, and then A in the words also. This lends to a great game of I Spy. So you can have your child point to all of the A's on the page. You could count them, but more importantly, they're trying to identify the letter shape so that they recognize that this is what A looks like and this is what it's called. This next idea is great for intentional repetitive practice, much like flashcards, but in a more developmentally appropriate way. I suggest using this activity for your 4, 5, and 6-year-olds as they're learning their letter names and sounds. So what you're going to do is grab some note cards and write a letter on each note card. I suggest starting with 3 to 5 letters. Then what you're going to do is tape them in a high traffic area like the front door, the back door, the kitchen, refrigerator door, the snack cabinet, their bathroom mirror, somewhere where they're going to see it all the time. And every time they pass by that, they're going to tap on the letter and say its name. So we put ours on our front door, and every time we would leave the house, my daughter would name the letters by touching them, and then we'd go out. And then every time we did that, it was very repetitive practice. Once she had mastered the letters I had there, I would mix them up because you want to make sure that they know them in random order and they're not just memorizing the list that you have there. And then once I knew she really had those letters mastered, I would swap them out for others. If it took her longer to get some of the letters than others, I'd just swap out the ones she really knew so that she always had 5 letters there that she was working on at a time. Again, you can repeat this same idea with sounds after they've mastered the names of their letters. Play games. Moms and dads, parents, you are so creative about turning anything and everything into a game, and learning your letter names and sounds is no different. So musical chairs is a game that I really like, or a concept like musical chairs. What you can do is write the letters that you're working on big sheets of paper, put them down on the floor, turn on some music, and have your child walk in a circle, kind of like an old school cakewalk. Do you remember those from elementary school? And when the music stops, they can pick up that letter and name it or they can say its sound, or they can do both depending on where you are in your learning process, and then put that letter to the side so they don't repeat it, and go about, turn that music on and walk around again until they've said all of the letters. Now don't do all 26 letters, that would take you forever and they'd get bored with it. Maybe start with like 8 or 10 letters is probably enough for a musical chairs cakewalk type game. Bingo is another great way to learn letter names and sounds. If you check the description of this video, there's a freebie bingo board for you, actually a couple of them, and letter cards that you can use as calling cards. All you have to do is print it off, give the board to your kid. They can use some kind of chip that you might have to cover, or those daubing markers, or put a highlighter X on it. Whatever you want to do, you call out the name of the letter or the sound of the letter, and then they're going to cover it on their board 5 in a row, and you get bingo. And of course, anytime you can get outside and connect movement to learning, they're going to remember it even better. So this summer, we went outside and we wrote all of our capital letters in chalk on the driveway, and then my daughter used her water gun to spray each letter that I called out. So you could call out the names or the sounds or both, whichever, and they're going to spray it with their water gun. Or they could ride their scooter over to it, or they could run to it, or they could bounce a ball. Either way, they're getting their whole body involved, and that's going to help commit it to memory, those names and sounds of their letters. So there you have it. Everything you need to know about teaching letter names and sounds, plus 5 activities to get you started right away. If you have any questions about something I've said in this video, or if you have ideas for future videos, drop it in the comments. I would love to connect with you there. Be sure that you like this video and hit the subscribe button. New videos come out every Thursday. You don't want to miss what's coming next in the 6 Skills to Master Before Starting to Read series. And until next time, happy reading.